This is your host, Connie Hall, bringing to you Michael DeBills with some very exciting things concerning the North American Country Music Associations International, what it is, and what the NACMAI Hall of Fame is all about. Michael, I'm going to open this mic up to you and let you talk all about the NACMAI Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you, Connie. It's going to be a great year. This is our 22nd year coming up. It's amazing and hard to believe that we've been hosting and doing these things for 22 years. That's really unreal.
That's spectacular. Yes.
It's a good thing, and I think that we've been well blessed with lots of hard workers. It's people that's been involved and helped throughout the years to make this thing happen. So we're still going strong. So
that's always important. You have to have people to do that, don't you? What is the NACMAI Hall of Fame?
Well, the NACMAI stands for the North American Country Music Association International, and we established the Hall of Fame honoring the legends of country music. Like I think we started in 1997 was our first year, and it was to pay honor and homage to all of the true country music legends and those people that work actually behind the scenes, the session players, the arrangers, the backup singers, the engineers, and the booking agencies, the radio DJs that gets the work out there. A lot of people say, well, so and so or she or he, they were an artist in the 60s or the 70s, but they don't know the true stuff behind the song they recorded. For instance, a songwriter would have a song and he had pitched that thing for 2 years or 5 years or so in the market to publishing companies. Nobody would take it, and then this artist took a shot at it and it became a number one for him. This is basically what we do, is try to bring out the reality of how these things happen, and honor those people that make it happen.
Yeah,
that's what the Hall of Fame is all about.
Okay, now how did this Hall of Fame actually get started?
Well, how we first started the NACMAI itself, which basically what the NACMAI does is we are. You could call us more so an educational. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Oh, okay.
And it's everyone that's involved in it they do it for their love of the art form, and it brings up the aspiring artist and the young and the youth. Gives them an opportunity to walk on a main stage with the real lighting, the proper lighting, like they're going to get in a big, auditorium. That's what we're in, a big auditorium. They're at Tonite Theatre in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It gives them opportunities to network and so forth. So it was only the right thing to do is to have a Hall of Fame. And what that does is it gives the youth and gives these up-and-coming artists a chance to meet some of these artists. It gives them an opportunity to hear and see them perform the songs that made them popular. And by doing so, it is kind of a work of they're going to learn to do the same thing with their talent. It gives them it inspires them to become better. And that is the whole key behind it. I feel that if you keep someone young, if they're tied up in music and singing and their instrument playing and so forth and their vocals, they're not going to be into a lot of other mischief. And everyone's not sports players. There's a lot of people that play basketball or football or soccer. But there's a lot of people that don't play that, but they are very into music, and so this gives an opportunity. Plus, it's preserving country music. It's preserving the art form.
Yes. Now, Michael, could you explain to us what is NACMAI?
NACMAI is a organization, and what we are in the organization is there's each state. We have maybe, I think at the present moment, and the reason why I can't say the exact number because it fluctuates, we have probably 25 active states that's actually active right now with us. Mm-hmm. Each state has total autonomy to itself as how they want to run their organization. Mm. You have the Buckeye State, which is Ohio, and they would have the Country Music Association. We have Oklahoma Country Music Association, California, and so forth and so on, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. Well, all of these states they're on the state level. They have all their people come in there and they compete. Mm-hmm. And then the winners of that competition moves on to the national level, which is us. Mm-hmm. And the national level is held, in March each year. Mm-hmm. There in Pigeon Forge. We hold it at the Country Tonite Theatre. Mm-hmm. And that's, by the way, also where the Hall of Fame showcases are at, with a lot of the artists that you could come in there and see various artists' guitars and their stage costumes and so forth.
Oh,
but
nice.
That's basically what NACMAI is. It is an educational organization to help preserve and to become maybe perhaps an authoritative figure mm-hmm. for country music in the future. Mm-hmm. And the reason being, and this is one of the tidbits behind being in East Tennessee, the birthplace of country music was not Nashville, Tennessee, but it was Bristol, Tennessee, which is right up the road from us.
Oh, wow.
And in 1927, Ralph Peer came down from New York, mm-hmm. and he done the famous recordings with the Carter family, A.P. Carter and Mother Maybelle Carter.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Rogers, who is the father of country music, Blue Yodeler himself.
Yes.
And the Stoneman family, Pop Stoneman, Dancing Donna, all of those people that recorded in the Bristol sessions. Mm-hmm. It was done there on State Street, a State Street Hotel, and what they call it that is because one side of the street's in Virginia and one side of the street is in Tennessee.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And so these recordings took place, and so the birthplace and the paying homage to what we do, being in Pigeon Forge, which is like I say, it's probably 35, 40 miles from Bristol. Mm-hmm. But East Tennessee has always been the home of country music in lots of instances. Perhaps Hank Williams Sr. was mm-hmm. in Knoxville, Tennessee, the last moments of his life, on his way to Canton, Ohio, for a New Year's Eve show, and mm-hmm. He never made it. He had stayed in Knoxville at a hotel, mm-hmm. and when they Swan Kitts, the sheriff in Maynardville, Tennessee, which is our home office, he'd pulled over the driver of this Cadillac and they found Hank in the back, and he was basically already cold. He had passed on. But and that's the story as it goes. And so that was in Knoxville. Roy Acuff is from Maynardville. Kenny Chesney is from Maynardville. Chet Atkins, Maynardville. WNOX and the Lowell Blanchard, the Midday Merry-Go-Round was pre WSM in Nashville. All of these things comes from East Tennessee, and that's why we bring it back. We're bringing it back to the home place of country music.
Yeah. Now, what part do you play in the organization, Michael?
Connie, I do various things. Being the executive director, I oversee the general operations and make sure the event works, and the events work each day, a daily thing. I also do the arrangements and the charts and the stage setup and so forth for our artist that comes in. Mm-hmm. Do some emceeing if need be, but it's kind of like my hands sometimes are tied and I have to have other people to do.
Yeah.
But I do so many things, and for instance, if a certain artist is going to be on the Hall of Fame show, I would listen to the material that's going to be performed, mm-hmm. and then I will find the proper instrumentation.
Okay.
And the musicians that'll fill this spot. And then after the charts and the arrangements, I've write those and put it all together. So it's basically I'm pretty much a chief model washer.
Well, that's an important place to play. Now, where are you located?
We're located in the beautiful Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee.
Oh.
Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg area, but we are in Pigeon Forge, and we hold our competition and our showcasing, and we hold our Hall of Fame show at the Tonite Theatre in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Anyone can go online and pull Tonite Theatre up and see everything about what we're doing there, and they have a wonderful show also.
Well, that's cool.
They're yearly. I'm pretty sure I think they may take a month or two off, but they revamp and come back and do their own show there at the theater. So it's a wonderful place to work.
Yeah. In your own words, could you describe what the Hall of Fame is all about?
I'm going to say that the Hall of Fame is to honor and pay homage to the true legends of country music, and to keep today's country music industry always close to the roots. Without the past, there's no future.
Yeah.
The true legends sometimes get lost, but they'll always be the ones that influences in the evolution of the art form. And for instance, the people who listened to Lefty Frizzell at one time in life became the Keith Whitleys and the Merle Haggards, and the Merle Haggards, and then the Darrell Singletaries listened to the Merle Haggards and the Keith Whitleys, and so it's an evolutionary process, and and you go all the way back to the roots, and that's basically I feel that's what we do with this. We bring in the legends, the true legends, and instill what they do in the hearts of today's generation, and let them see live, hear, and they can say, "Oh, I did meet so and so. I did meet this one, or I met that artist," and that's that's how idols are. I think it's how people become idols, but I also think that's what influences people to continue the art form.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel the Hall of Fame is all about.
Yeah. So, what is your vision for the NACMAI and the Hall of Fame show? What is your vision for this?
I would say probably to become I would call myself, or call the association and the Hall of Fame, to become an authoritative shrine to the heritage of country music, a place where aspiring artists and songwriters can hear and see true legends in country music and be inspired to achieve their own greatness someday. Just by being a part of this organization.
That's just got to be super exciting. We had talked a little bit about the inductees. I know you've got an awful lot of inductees there. So we probably can't get into all of that here, but we are going to get them out there. Is there anything special that you'd like to talk about in regard to the inductees?
Connie, there are so many people that are just so great. Some of my favorite ones that have come through that I've idolized as coming up in the business and getting to actually sit down and play piano and work with a lot of these artists was a highlight. We've had everybody from Donna Fargo and Lynn Anderson, Liz Anderson, and went on down to we've had the Kitty Wales.
Yeah.
It goes to Jeannie Seeley, Margot Smith. Freddie Fender, Janie Fricke, Grady Martin, David Frizzell, T.G. Shepherd. The list goes on. Kelly Lane, which is T.G.'s wife.
Wow.
Panda Ross off of American Idol. Tom P. Hall and his lovely wife, Miss Dixie Hall. We've had them, and Leona Williams. Lord, mercy, the list goes
just
so
on
long.
and on.
Ian Mandrell, Lacey J. Dalton, and Paulette Carlson, Highway 101, and just so many of these people that you just, Freddie Hart. Oh, what a wonderful gentleman to work with, Freddie Hart. A gentleman in his 90s, and he got up there and sang Easy Lovin', and the crowd went crazy.
That was awesome,
like,
yes. I know, I saw that.
It's just so wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, it's so wonderful. And some of my artists, the gospel side of it, you know, we've had everyone from some of the songwriters. I haven't even mentioned songwriters like Bobby Tomberlin that wrote One More Day, and Chicken Man himself, you know, Quack Quack, all these people that have come along in the business, and like I say, the list would. There's no way I could even start trying to talk about all of them. I mean, it would have to be someone would have to have a large piece of paper to write all this stuff down.
Now, you had talked about it being in the states, the different states. Are you international also?
Yes, we are. Yes. We cover internationally. We have groups, organizations that's as far away as England.
Yeah.
We had one group out of New Zealand, England, New Zealand, Germany, Brazil. It's covered a very, very large area of the world.
Yeah.
Because it's an international thing. Music is the international language. It's something that everyone can relate to. There's no fences.
Right.
It's just the love of the art form it spreads everywhere.
That's awesome. Now, I guess I'd like to understand a little bit in looking at the forms. There were, sheets that needed to be filled out. You have age groups. How do those age groups? How does that work?
Okay. We have various categories. So here you go with like traditional country, and then you have new country, which would be new modern country that you possibly be listening to on the radio. And then you would have a vocal, and then you would have an entertainer in those groups. And you would also have new gospel and traditional gospel. And you would have a vocalist and an entertainer in those two groups. The categories is set up from 3 to 6, 7 to 12, and then 13 to 16, and then 17 to 20, and then you have your adult division. And then we have the grand of all of it, which was formed like 2 years ago, is a 50 and over group. And so each one of these 3 to 6 and the 7 to 12s and the 13 to 16, 17 to 20 and the adult and then 50 and over you have a winner in the traditional country and the new country. You have a winner in the traditional gospel and the new gospel, and then you have a winner in which bluegrass is bluegrass. So it's just straight ahead bluegrass. We don't have anything other than say bluegrass gospel. No, it's bluegrass is bluegrass. So but and you have instrumentalists in each one of these.
Wow.
Some of the fun things in the world to do is when we have these competitions and showcases is when we start on Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. and we have acts that goes through all day long, all the way up until 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night, 9 p.m. And this goes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Busy week, huh? Yeah.
So you have maybe 700. You have like 700 artists going across that stage, acts going across there.
Right.
And this is totally free to the public to come in and sit down in an air-conditioned auditorium and listen to all of these people.
Right.
Some of my favorite of working with the youth is when I'm having to deal with these 3 to 6 years or the 7 to 12 age group, which I'm pretty fond of the rest of them, but I really like these age group of kids because they are special.
Yeah.
Especially when they have talent.
Yes.
And you see someone that's 6 or 7 years old walk out on stage
and give it
a Peggy Franck song.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there going, "Oh man, oh my Lord, that girl's got talent," you know.
Yeah. It's got to be exciting.
It's so cool. It's so much fun.
Yes.
And then the grand finale. There on Saturday night, you have the Hall of Fame show, and then on Sunday is the award show. Mm-hmm. And at the award show, that's when everyone is in the auditorium, and the winners are called out.
Yeah.
There's a winner for the first, second, and third place winners. Mm-hmm. And then we have a Future Star Tomorrow award for the youth here. We don't like any of the youth to perform and not get something.
Right.
They need something for their effort.
Yeah, that's right. Some kind of reward.
So that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much fun.
Yes. I'm jealous. I think it's awesome that you are blessed to have this place in your life.
I've been doing it for this is 22nd year, but we started before that. I've been working with Mrs. Franck, Peggy Franck, who is our CEO and founder.
Yes.
For about 25 years now. She and I've been executive director. We got Dan Knight. He come on board as our assistant vice president of the Hall of Fame, and Roger Woods is our vice president. He's out of Arkansas there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And these gentlemen are really working hard. Joe Campbell is our secretary and treasurer, and so we've got a good group of a good team of people here. Yeah. That's really working hard and making things happen for this up and coming 22nd year, and I really am looking forward to. I don't blame you. Being a part of this because it's we've got the right team together finally to really make this thing happen.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. I keep saying awesome, but that's awesome. Now, Michael, I don't have any other questions on my list here, but is there something else that you feel like you would like to really share about this whole project?
Anyone out there that would be interested can go to our website, and they can contact us on the website. And we can get them hooked up with what state they're needing to enter in, wherever they're local. If they're in California, then we would direct them in that direction, or if they're in Virginia or Tennessee or whichever state they need to be in, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, wherever. Yeah. And they can go on YouTube and pull a lot of the NACMAI, that's NACMAI.
There you go.
All of those, everyone would post their stuff on social media. Seems like anymore. Yeah. One of the best things I can say about this whole project is when I first came on board, I was curious because there weren't no Facebook or any of that stuff. Yeah. These kids and these up and coming artists and these adults even, they can interact with one another, and we have like second and maybe even third generation of people that are coming to this organization. One lady right now, her daughter will be entering it this year, and I think she's going to be entering it at 4 years old.
Oh my!
Well, the mother of this child, she entered it when she was 12 years old, and her dad was on it when she was a baby.
Oh my! Isn't that something?
So you can see this is third generation of kids coming into this organization. Yeah. And I would say most of these kids on social media, for instance, I meet Connie, and she sings and I sing, and Connie lives in Oklahoma, and I live in Vermont. Mm-hmm. And we become very close friends. Mm-hmm. Even though we live that distance apart, we contact and we talk to each other on Snapchat and Facebook and our pictures, and we know each other. And every year in March, Connie and Michael, we get to sit down with each other and eat a hamburger.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah, yes.
they become lifelong friends.
Yes.
It's social networking, and
Yes.
and it means so much. I didn't realize that this would happen.
Yeah.
When we first started this thing, we were actually, I think we were stepping into the unknown.
Yeah. Yes. Well, this is exciting, Michael, and it's been a real pleasure just to talk to you. I never really knew you, so this gives me a chance to get to know you, and I'm glad to know more about the organization and what it is that you're really doing. So thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you, Connie, and God bless you. And I look forward to meeting you face-to-face someday.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
It will.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's a true honor for me to interview this lady. We are speaking to the one and only Peggy Franck, the founder and CEO of NACMAI, which is the North American Country Music Associations International. So, Miss Peggy, I'm going to get right to the heart of the matter. How did NACMAI come to be, and how did it ever get started?
Well, my husband and I had a dance facility in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, where we catered to the young people. It was a place where there was no smoking, no drinking, no drugs, no anything, and that was just not allowed. We had a wonderful young band that played and they danced. That was when the country music, line dancing, and was really at its peak. And they would come, sometimes 100, 200 kids on the weekend, and they would dance. And the parents were so easy with us and trusted us so much, they just drive by, drop the kids off, and come back and pick them up. So anyway, I found out about an organization out in Las Vegas who put on a competition similar to what we're doing here. And I joined out there, and I took the band, and we took the band and all their families, sometimes 30 to 40 people, to Las Vegas for competition for about 3 years, I guess. And I found that it was not credible. It was just not what I wanted my young people to be involved in. So I pulled them out. And when I did, a lot of the other people that were going out there kept calling and said, since I lived in Tennessee, they thought that, Tennessee was the country music place of the world, and they wanted me to set up something similar to it. And at first, I really didn't give it much thought. But then I thought, well, maybe I should give this a try. So I called a lot of people that I knew in the business, which was very few at that time, and I asked them to meet with me in Birmingham, Alabama, for a weekend, and sort of brainwash this thing and see if it could be possible, because I'd have to have seed money to be able to do it.
Yes.
So they all came together one weekend in August of '97, and we talked about it extensively, and I really couldn't get any interest because they really didn't feel like that I could pull it off, to tell you the truth. And I wasn't sure I could either, Connie. I was just one of these people that, I'd try anything once. But,
what am I getting into?
Right, absolutely. So a lady from Beaumont, Texas, who was wonderful, very educated, very knowledgeable, and she had been to Las Vegas too, so she knew what I was talking about. And that evening, after I got back to my motel room, my husband was with me, and I sort of thought, well, this isn't going to go anywhere. These people, they're interested. If I do it, I put all the money into it, then they may help. They may help get the states, but that wasn't possible for me to do everything.
Right.
So she came to my room that night and she asked me, she said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "Yes, I really would like to do this."
Wow.
I said, "I don't know where it'll go, but I'd like to try it at least a year."
Oh, wow.
So she said, "Well, I will help financially."
Wow.
And so she and my husband talked it over, and they put the seed money up in '97, and she started coming back and forth from Beaumont, and we started promoting.
Wow.
And we went from one state to the other and contacted people and got them involved. And I felt like, well, we can do this. We can do it at least for 3 days and have a show on Sunday. Well, one day the phone rang, and it was from a gentleman by the name of Little Jimmy Dempsey. Okay. He was a musician, studio musician, and he had played with every artist in Nashville. He had done 45 vinyl records himself.
Wow.
He was just amazing.
Wow.
And he called me, and he called me Peggy. He said, "Why are you putting an association together and you're not going to do a Hall of Fame show?"
Oh.
And I said, "Well, that has never crossed my mind."
Wow.
He said, "Well, I'm very interested in what you're doing."
Yeah.
And he said, "I have the contacts in Nashville, so if you want me to get involved, I will see to it that we have the first Hall of Fame show."
Incredible.
I said, "Okay, Jimmy, that's fine." He said, "Well, will you come to Kentucky and sit down and talk with me?" And I said, "Sure, I'll make a trip up there."
Yeah.
So I went up to Western Kentucky and sit down with little Jimmy, and I talked to him for an afternoon, and the stories he told. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Anyway, he did. He put the Hall of Fame together for the 1998. So we were in the conference in August of '97, and I pulled the first competition and Hall of Fame show off the 1st of January of '98.
Wow.
And we went in for a 3-day competition and a Hall of Fame. And he brought in people like Merle Kilgore, Johnny Koval, that was with the radio station WSM, Jeannie Pruitt, Jeannie C. Riley, Donna Fargo, Patsy Cline, Floyd Kramer.
Go on.
Aaron Young's son.
Wow.
And he sent me all of their bios and their pictures.
Wow.
Well, I was ecstatic. I thought this was wonderful.
Yeah.
This is absolutely wonderful. So I walked in. I was trying to promote it, and I walked into the Mountain Press newspaper in Sevierville with Floyd Kramer's picture in his house because he had already confirmed he would be there.
Wow.
And when I walked in, the editor walked out and said, "Peggy, Mr. Kramer passed away this morning."
Oh.
Well, I just stood there in awe. I didn't know what to say.
Oh, sure.
But anyway, they did go ahead and do an article. And when we went into competition, I thought, oh, my goodness, these people will not show up.
Wow.
But, Connie, every one of them showed up.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
That's amazing.
It was awesome.
Amazing.
And then they were so impressed with what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
Merle Kilgore and Jeannie Pruitt and Donna Fargo was our biggest promoters.
Yeah.
They promoted NACMA to everyone they knew.
They got behind you.
Yes, they got behind us. Donna Fargo was our very first inductee.
That's wonderful.
And Merle Kilgore, oh, he loved it. And he sat on the board of the CMA at that time. But he still came to this Hall of Fame show, and he received his Hall of Fame trophy because little Jimmy Dempsey had asked him to.
Oh,
and he had played for all of these people.
Wow.
And
my goodness.
He was absolutely, he just supported this association to no end. But in essence, I guess what I'm trying to say is that if it had not been for little Jimmy Dempsey,
yes.
I probably would not have done a Hall of Fame.
Wow.
But after the first year and bringing these people in, and then these people helping me for the second year and the third year and the fourth year,
wow.
and those people helping me, and it was like a snowball effect.
Isn't that something?
So everyone helped everyone.
Somebody had something planned there.
Oh, yes. And Harold Bradley, he was the head of the Musicians Union in Nashville, and I kept going to Nashville, and I'd meet with him, and, the lessons he taught me, you know.
Yeah.
He just really, it was like going to school in country music. But I've always appreciated him so much. And, of course, Lynn Anderson and Liz Anderson and little fiddling John Carson, you know, up in the Tri-Cities that had a big part of even starting country music.
Wow.
Up in that area, we honored him, and it was just awesome. It really was. But that's really how the Hall of Fame got started. Was just my luck that he called me, but he never got to see the first show.
No,
and it always broke my heart that he couldn't, because he worked so hard.
Yes,
and I received those bios and pictures just a few days after he must have mailed them the day before he passed away.
My goodness.
Because I got them within a few days, and then I was notified. I had already, the day before, I had been notified that Jimmy had passed away. So I was making arrangements to go to the funeral, but I had to get the promotion out, you know, for the Hall of Fame. So anyway, that's how we got started.
That's how it got started.
And Michael DeVille was with me at the establishment that we had was called the Lonesome Dove. And he was the piano player for the band there that was called the Straight and Narrow.
Wow.
So Michael has been with me more than 25 years.
Isn't that something?
So, yes, and he is so knowledgeable in the music business.
I thoroughly enjoyed my interview with him, and I'm looking forward to getting it all pulled together. So.
Oh yes, he and I want him to know that how much I appreciate his knowledge of what we've done and his expertise in the country music business, and not only country but gospel and bluegrass. Michael is an expert in everything.
Yeah.
You know, and he is a fabulous piano player. And he wrote a book on the charting, on how to chart. And believe it or not, my son put a band together called Pure Young Country. And he would come out on Sunday afternoon for months and chart the music these kids wanted to play. And he taught them to play music together by the charts that he wrote out. They'd tell him what song that they wanted to play. He would chart it. I'd run it off on a copying machine, hand each one of them the chart. And within 4 or 5 months, I'd book those kids out.
Wow.
And they had a ball. We went. I took them everywhere. And they just had a ball. So he's very knowledgeable, wonderful, wonderful person. And he's just, he's been fantastic for NACMAI, and I appreciate everything that he's done. So anyway, that's actually how the Hall of Fame started, was through a conversation with little Jimmy Dempsey. And
somebody had a hand in that one.
Pardon me?
I said somebody had a hand in that one.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yes.
You know, the woman that helped me, her name was Nancy Nesbitt, and we had said that we would try it for a year and see how it went, because it takes a lot of money to put a show on. And my husband was kind enough to back me. God love his heart, and she was kind enough to go in halfway. So we said, okay, we'll throw this money in, and if it goes, we'll continue. If it doesn't, then you know, we haven't lost off that, we haven't gone back for us, let's put it that way.
No, I would guess that you probably were amazed at the turnout, how it actually came out.
I really was, because on a Saturday night before the Sunday Hall of Fame show, it was packed out.
Yeah.
And when I walked into that showcase that night, I almost fell over because all the people that the Hall of Fame pulled in. And, Patsy Cline's husband, Charlie Dick, he and Merle Kilgore found a little girl out of Texas that was in the competition, and they loved this child. So they talked to the mother. They wanted to sign this girl and bring her into Nashville and do work with her, and they actually did. So, see, that's something that we never know who's going to see someone.
You really don't.
Because we've had that happen so many times over the last 21 years.
Isn't that amazing?
And hopefully again this next year. So,
well, it's got to be very fulfilling for you, Peggy, to see this happen.
Well, it really is, because now that my children are grown and they have their own careers and they're out of the home, and even though they watch over mother, as far as that's concerned, it's still, it's a pleasure to be able to help young people, even though we have a tremendous amount of adults who have talent coming out to ears. And we've even got our 50s and over that are so talented, talented. So, I'm very fortunate to have all the people behind us and all the states behind this organization that believe in it and know that it's going to be done properly, know that there's no backlash, and it's going to be done credible, and everything's going to be done on top of the table. So, but anyway, the stories could be longer, but we'll keep it fun. We'll keep it here. But I appreciate it so much, Connie, that you've taken the time to even ask us about it.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure.
Michael. And should there ever be anything, that we can do, we'd certainly be there. So let us know.
Thank you so much, Peggy. Yes, I do.